Good morning, Rabbi Oziel. Good chodesh. Today, Shabbos Parshas is what I meant to say. I'll explain. It's not really my fault. One of the reasons Shabbos Parshas we fast on Shabbos Parshas is because the carbon tamid ended on Shabbos Parshas. And this morning, I had one of those, it's going to happen sooner or later where you miss your alarm. Oh, Shnayim Mikra and carbon today? Wow. Kiss from Hashem, carbon tamid and Shnayim Mikra today. Beautiful. Anyway, so I missed my alarm. Not that I missed, I was just too tired to get up. I decided to get up a little earlier than usual because I was behind completely. So I woke up very late and thinking to myself, wow, there goes the consistency, the tmidi, the carbon tamid, the idea of learning every single day. That was the big problem of Shabbos Parshas. No more carbon tamid. There was other karbanos that stopped way before. They didn't have enough sheep. The karbanos stopped before, but the carbon tamid, tmidi kisidron. So we got to be mischazik with the consistency. Operation Day and YMDY is important to me. So this was written by a big Bal Yisurim who comes to Shir very often. He's in the hospital right now as we speak, having surgery. Mordechai Shlomo ben Sarah Tili. Morty Rasby sits up front here a lot. Good evening, your belly and MDY family. Some of you may know I'm about to undergo yet another complex 3-hour operation on my neck and throat Thursday morning in Sheba Hospital. I'd like to mention that Yosef Newman, who brought me into the joint of Daf over 11 sechtas ago, after not picking up a Gemara for over 16 and a half years, he unfortunately lost his battle to cancer. He passed away on my birthday. What's even crazier is that the operation was pushed off and falls on his 39th birthday. Bekitzer, he goes on to say, Raveli, what you do day and day for me on a personal level has an impact on me and so much that I've become a different person and a better person because of you. You've changed the way I feel about Torah. It doesn't take a lot for a person to learn, just to drop a Torah a day. Thank you so much for the love, care, interest you take into me to be the best I can. Enjoy learning, which is the most important thing. Please keep me in mind Thursday morning as you learn for the refuah of Mordechai Shlomo and Sarah Tili. We'll be in the middle of the operation right now. Appreciate all you, Rav, and entire MDY family does for me. You've been blessed, MDY family means so much. It's true, much more than torah and achdus. We have one another. May we continue to being there for each other. We mean them. Oh, your friend Morty Rasby should have a refuah shlema and no more tsar. Ephraim Hod. Always a good day when you bump into the one and only Pinchas Akilov. The subject is found the real MDYer wearing an MDY belt. I know they sell that on the merch site. I didn't know that anybody actually wears it. MDY belt and cufflinks. That I saw at a local queen, Simcha, always representing Yisher Koyach. The Olam should have a meaningful fast. The Koilol is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood for Shalamis Esther Basbela. By the way, a few people contacted us for large amounts of money. They want to do Kiddushin for Shidduchim. We have to schmooze it out. There was one person that wanted to do a whole $30,000, and it should be sponsored by a certain website. And I wasn't sure if the dating website, if it's appropriate in the Gemara or not. I don't know. I have to think about it. I don't even know what it, I heard about it many times. I just was never, I don't know if it's a from site, if it's a, okay. Rabbi Oziel. There's other people, Baruch Hashem, a few people contacted us, so we're going to put the printing of Art Scroll on hold for now, hopefully. The Koil is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood, L'Refuah Shalom Sesabas Beila. The Koil is sponsored by Nishmas Zachariah ben Moshe, Nishmas Betzal ben Moshe. The Masechta is sponsored by Moshe Banda. Thank Hashem that I'm able to thank him for everything that I have. The Paras HaChodesh Jeff Rosner. By the way, Avi, I'm very happy you're here because now we have the core chevra, and I feel really good. I just have something. I struggle, when I go to Chicago, the Olam doesn't show up, and it just hit me right now because the Olam is not here today. And I have what it is. It's the coffee. If I start serving coffee in Chicago, I'll have a tremendous Olam. It must be. No? Why else is nobody here today? The place is empty. There's like an echo. Okay. Huh?
They're still davening in the
The davening in the morning. Okay, yeah. That's what they say in Chicago also. Jeff Rosner, Eli Nishmas, Yosef, Simcha, Chaim, Ben Shlomo, Yehuda, 17-year-old. Rabbi says, 17-year-old kid was nifter. Parents of Lake and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because torah and achdus are the best segula. The Eibishter should give Rabbi Lak the clear mind to decide whether or not he should do kiddushin. Lili Nishmas, Chaya Bas Yosef. No, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Give him a little push. Tzvi Corlin, in memory, if anybody goes into B3 bikes today to buy a bike on Shabbos Parshas Korach, give him a little push. The Parnas HaShavua's last day for Tzvi Corlin in memory of Faiga Chaya Bas Yacov Chaim Aleha Shalom passed away, Shabbos Parshas Korach, and Parnas HaShavua, Michael Benchetrit, I guess he's back in America. In commemoration of the week, the 11th yartzeit Rabbi Yosef Oziel of Miami, 42-year-old. Tremendous talmid chacham, had a global following. He was my inspiration, start and finish last Daf Yomi cycle, and I continue to learn Daf Yomi in his memory. The art of the month for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leo Boisai. We are holding on Nun Amud Beis. Hopefully, we can get to the end of the sugya, which is Nun Aleph Amud Beis, the last word. Eiboitziin la'achilas peiros. So let me share with you this. This is the case in the Mishnah. So we have Dr. Ben Schwartz from the Five Towns. What happened? Akol b'seder? You're doing like, okay. I don't know what that means. Dr. Ben owns a piece of property. It's worth 100. There's a bad guy, a Goslin, who also owns a piece of property. You see, he has his stake in it. He already owns a property legitimately. The Goslin takes away Ben Schwartz's property and he sells it. Now he has two properties. One is really his, one is not. He sells the property to Yossi Klein and he also to Dr. Factor. Okay? The real one he sells to Dr. Factor. When exactly did he sell it? We're going to see in the Gemara. Right now in this thing, they both happen at the same time, but let's assume that he sells to Yossi Klein first and to Dr. Factor second. So the property is worth how much? 100. Yossi Klein, and I spoke about it, there's a guy in this room that told me that he was after a property for over a year and a half. The guy wasted hundreds of hours of his. He drove to Yerushalayim 100 times, only to find out that he doesn't even own the property. Right? You told me that? Right. He's good. He's going to get it at the end. He's going to make a little deal. Okay. This guy has no problem. He stole somebody's property, sold it to somebody else. He had no right to sell it. So what's going to happen is, now Yossi Klein went and improved the property. He planted something on it. He built a nursing home, whatever. Now the property is worth 200. He built some nursing homes. Comes Ben Schwartz and kicks Yossi out. He has all the right in the world to kick him out with the nursing home, with everything. So now Yossi Klein is out of 200. What does he do? Where does he get the money from? So the halacha is he gets the value of the property. He gets directly from Avi Factor, because Avi Factor purchased the land from the Goslin. It was a real purchase. So that land goes to Yossi Klein. The nursing homes, he improved himself later on. That doesn't come out of Dr. Factor's land, because Dr. Factor had no idea about these nursing homes that never existed, and they came upon later on. Now, just, Yoshi did this for Hamchasha, there should be a visualization here. It's something that we're going to be discussing today. Both are fields. Both are real estate. One is real estate that the person that owes money still has in his possession. So whether it's a husband that owes a ksuba, a loiva that owes the money to the malva, he has the field, he has an apartment he lives in. It's b'nei chayrin, they're free. So he pays with the ben chayrin. Mishuabadim means that he went ahead, the malva, the loiva, the one that owes money, the husband that owes money to his wife, whatever it is, they sold the field to somebody else. But the field is locked down, it's chained down to whatever obligation he has. If he owes money to his wife, so his wife could go after that field that was sold off. If he owes money, if the Leiva owes money and he sold a field, the Malva, the one that gave the loan, could go after that Meshubad field. All fields they could be Meshubad. A Ben Chayrin could be Meshubad. If you sell a Ben Chayrin, it becomes Meshubad. It's just to describe where the field is at. Who owns it right now? Ben Chayrin means that the person that owes money is in possession of the real estate. And Meshubad means that the person that owes the money is not in possession, but we could go after because people know and they should know that he owes money, and the person that the money is owed to could go after that field. Says the Gemara, now that we know the story in the Mishnah, Yossi Klein cannot go after Dr. Factor. Dr. Factor bought a Meshubad, he bought a real estate, and it's Meshubad now to Yossi Klein. The Goslin, when he sold his field, he had no right to sell it, or he owed money to Yossi Klein because he sold him something that wasn't his. So now Yossi Klein goes after Dr. Factor's field, which is Meshubad, but only for the value of the real estate and not the improvements of real estate that he did on the field. Yeah, is everybody with me? Without the coffees and everything, Givaldi. So we're going to have two major reasons why you can't, Rabbi Yossi Klein cannot recoup the improvements he made on his property, whether he planted on it, whether he built a house, a building. He can't go after it. Why? Reason number one is because it's not written in the document. So Dr. Avi Factor, when he bought the field from the Ganav, he had no idea that there's anything going on, that the guy's going to build a building. That's reason number one. Huh? Yeah.
He, I remember the name, but the person used the field for 10 years and he ate from the fruit. I want the fruit which he ate. It's my field.
Yeah, we're talking about over here improvements.
That's not how it is, but he doesn't clear it.
Let's see. Both. Fine, you're saying the lashon is off. Okay. I'm explaining that line of the Mishnah. Shvach is called shvach. Both of them you can't take. The point is, where was I? The other reason is, there's another reason the Gemara is going to give soon, and this makes a lot of sense logically, because it's not kotov. You have no idea how much that other guy is going to put into it. So when Avi Factor is buying the field from the Ganav, he can anticipate that the Ganav maybe sold off a field, he owes money, something. But if it's not kotov, he has no idea how much Yossi Klein is going to put into his property. So why should he take a chayes? Why should he guarantee something? He has no idea. Maybe he's going to plant wheat and that's worth $100. Maybe he'll plant grapes and that's worth $1,000. Maybe he'll put a nursing home on it and worth $1 million. He has no idea. Says Gemara, so the first shot is because it's not written anywhere. So Dr. Avi Factor, when he bought a real estate from the Ganav, he had no idea. Says the Gemara, how could that be the reason? The command iksividami. A person is obligated to support his daughter and his wife, so it's as if it's written, even though a guy doesn't write in a document anywhere, he's going to support his daughter or something we put in the ksuba, but he doesn't have to write that he's going to support his daughter. But the daughter is born, he supports her. It's a chiyuv. It says, so it's as if it's written. That's part of our Mishnah. You don't go after Dr. Avi Factor for support for the wife and children. But it's not written. You tell me the whole reason is because it's not written. No, that was the call in the beginning. That's how So let's see Rashi for a second. So Rashi says, the last Rashi in the bottom, Mikor Lachiyatkin, Tnai Beis Chaya, Shiyu Ksuvim Eitzel B'nei Chorim V'lo Ksuvim Eitzel Meshubad. L'fi she'en l'cha Adam Roi Tzalikach Sadim Chaveiroi Imazin Ishtei Barav Chayzim Olav Eidlamis. Rashi says it's impossible for anybody to ever buy any piece of real estate in the world if at any given time that you're going to lose that piece of real estate to pay for somebody's support of his children. There's no way to know that and understand it in advance, and therefore it's impossible to make such a takana. Says the Gemara, the reason that we cannot go after Dr. Factor for shvach karkois, fachilas peiros, is because it's not written down. So child support, say we had a second ago, even though it is written, you can't go after it. No, because that gufa is the way the takana was built. So yes, it's like it's written, but chachamim instituted takana that you could only go after real estate that the father has, and not real estate that the father sold off. Reb Chanina Omar, and here comes the second pshat in the Mishnah. Why can't you go after a field, a real estate piece that was sold? The fishen ksuvim because there's no limit to how much improvement a person is going to make on a piece of property, and therefore you can't go after the Mishua Badim. Zot Gemara, Boilu. The Reb Chanina ksuvim uksuvim boy. Now, Reb Chanina says because the improvements are unlimited or we don't know what they are, does it also mean that because it's like it's written? Do you need that's not written? You need something in writing, plus you need something that's katzov, that's limited. Perhaps he meant one. You don't need both reasons. One reason, the point is that it's unknown. The amount is unknown. So Dr. Factor, when he bought that property off whoever it is, he never obligated himself to pay it up because it's an unknown figure. Daf Nun Aleph means that we did 50 daf in Gittin. 50 daf. Unbelievable. Toshma. A person dies and he left 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. We actually have a little bit of... Yeah. Guy has 3 children. This is 3 children, and he goes sideways. He dies. Now, the way it works is that the daughters, they get supported from the property, from the inheritance, but also they get nedunya. They get a dowry. They get a little bit from the property when they get married. How much? Typically it's 10%. So the one on the right goes ahead. Now, over here the son takes over everything. He inherits, not the girls. And the one on the right takes 10%. She took it before she got married. She decided she's going to get married soon. She took 10%. And this guy goes sideways, which is very interesting because it's mamish, this week's parasha. You have daughters that don't have brothers, and they're the closest relative. They get the Yerusha. Now, what do? So the halakha is very interesting. Since the woman on the right took her 10%, so how much is left over? 90%. So what you do is you split 45 and 45 in half. You split the 90 in half. Each one gets 45%. So it comes out that the woman on the right, she made a little bit extra. She made 55%. Okay? See, her share is larger than the one on the left. That's the story over here. Why? Because the first one jumped ahead and she grabbed 10%. The one on the left wasn't in Shidduchim yet. She didn't think she needs it yet. She'll wait. She waited, and then her brother dies. Now they get to divide the entire property. The second one, the one on the left, forfeited her share. Why? She's mavater. Because the whole point of this 10% is that these girls should have something to live on. They should have something. Well, they have more than something. She has 45%. 45% is more than the 10% she would typically get. Seems unfair, but that's how it is. Now, we're still asking a question here. We're in the middle of a question. These are the halachas. I argue on you. Reb Chanina says to Rabbi Yochanan, more than that. That what? In a case where the son, this guy, before he died, the son goes ahead and sells off the property. What's the halacha? What does parnasa mean? Not what you would typically think to be supported. Parnasa over here means the dowry, the nedunya. You hear what's going on here? The brother went ahead and sold the field. It doesn't matter. The girls could go after that field and take their 10%. But they can't go after the Dr. Factors of the world and take their support. But wait a minute. If the brother went ahead and sold the field, you could go after the purchaser and take your 10%. So if he didn't sell the field, she doesn't get her 10%? How does that make sense? Even if he sold it, she could go after the other person and take her 10%. But anyway, that's his argument. But listen to this. Here's the raya. The 10% dowry, the nedunya, is something that we know how much it is. It's 10%. Michtav leiksiva. Yet, it's not written anywhere. It's an unwritten law that we go by. That a unmarried girl, when she gets married, she gets 10%. So you see that you have a case where it's a known amount and it's not written, and you can take it out. Even though it's not written, you take it. You go after the purchaser. Shani Parnasa says Gemara, given this lakala, the command ksividami. This is, you can't bring any kashas from here because nedunya has, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows that she's getting married. There's a 10%, so it's as if it's written. And we're going to have that idea later on as well. There's certain things that are as if they're written. Maaser Ravuna bar Menoya. The what? In the Mishnah we said that and Ula explains because they're not written. Again, two reasons. Either because it's not written or because it's not an exact amount. So Kasha on Ula, it says Mesu. Oh, so for this, Rabbi Oziel, we need to see these charts for a second because it's a long story here. Okay. Guys, ready? There's a woman who has a daughter, right? There's an older lady, she's wearing white, she has a daughter in black. These are back from Yavamas. She gets married to an individual and they have a child together, the 5-towner. So the woman in white has 2 daughters, that's not important for us. The guy on the right, when he married the woman, he took upon himself that he's going to support the burqa lady. That's the daughter of his new wife. He said, you know what? I'm marrying you. I'm going to support her for 5 years. Then they have a daughter together. Now, logically speaking, what is this Yerushalmi guy? What's his obligation? To who is his obligation stronger? To his own daughter that he just had with his new wife? Or to this daughter that's not even his stepdaughter that he took upon himself, achrayis? What's his obligation? Nu Rabbi Oziel, where does he have more obligation? His own daughter. I would think his own daughter. Then he gets divorced. And that happened too fast. Let's do it slowly. Oh, it happens by itself. Lady in white marries another man. He's that criminal guy. The guy, Nebuch, has jeans under his, if you look closely, he's wearing jeans and gym shoes with a long jacket. Fine. She gets married to him, and they have another daughter. Now, the guy on the left who just married the woman in white, he also took upon himself the obligation to support her previous child, her child she had from some other guy. Okay, not the 5-towner, the one in black. So the one in black is being supported by 2 men now. Yeah? First, the woman in white was married to the guy on the right, then she's married to the guy to the left. When she married the guy on the right promised to support the daughter for 5 years, and that whole marriage lasted for a month. Then she married another guy, and that guy promised to support the daughter for 5 years. So now this daughter is being supported twice. So what do? One of the men supports the daughter, one of the men gives her cash. But each husband had a daughter, their own daughter, and they're mechuyev to support their own daughters, independent of one another.
Why?
What?
Why are they mechuyev to support their own?
You're mechuyev to support your daughter. The Gemara, until the 12 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
these are ketanim?
These are ketanos, yeah. Huh? Yeah, whatever.
They look like they're good.
I try to make them smaller, actually, but
They're grown.
okay, fine. Yeah. Now, these 2 guys go bye-bye. Okay? So now let's see inside. Here we are. Now, we caught up to the story. Now that's where we're at right now. This is where the story starts. Maaser Ravuna Bar Manoyach, Mesu, this is a continuation in the Mishnah. Mesu. The 2 husbands died. They left, each one left their own daughter, and each one left the stepdaughter. Their own daughters, the ones on the outside, the 5-towner, and that lady davening over there. Here, Gevaldik, we have another chart. Here we go. So, their own daughters are weaker. They could only take child support from Bnei Chayrin. What's Bnei Chayrin? Property that those fathers still have in their possession. That's very weak property. Whereas the stepdaughter, she could go after people that purchase property from these men. That's very strong. It's meshubad. But it's saying this stepdaughter, it's not written anywhere. Because it's as if she's owed money, you go after Mishubadim. The problem is that's not written anywhere. And if it's not written anywhere, we just said if it's not written, you can't go after Nechaz Mishubadim. It is written. Why? Because they did a Kinyan Sudar, front of Eidim, they did a Chalipa, a Kinyan Sudar, and Rashi says every Stam Kinyan Leksiva Oymed, it's about to be written. Tosis learns that it's mamish like it's written. He learns in Rashi that it's literally as if it's written. It's a Kinyan Sudar, it's like it's written. So Mela, you can't, there's no right against Ula. Ula said that it has to be written. This is written, this is a case of written, that's why she goes after Mishubad. But going back, then why is this stepdaughter any better than her? Where are they? Oh, here. What's the difference? Wasn't there a kinyan for them? Bishkana lezu, v'lekana lezu. No, there was no kinyan for the for the daughters. There was only a kinyan for the stepdaughters. Ask the Gemara, my Pasco, where did you come up with such an idea? Why would you even say such a differentiation? Why would somebody make a kinyan for a stepdaughter but not for his own daughters? Says Gemara, very simple. Because the stepdaughter was there when these men married the mother. She was in this world. But these own daughters, they weren't in the world yet. So there's no time to make it. When are you going to make a kinyan? You can't make a kinyan under the chuppah that I am going to support my daughter that doesn't exist. What is that called? Says the Gemara, but wait a minute. There is a case where they are in the world, and can't you be talking about that case also? It doesn't mean that this is the case. But since there is, what's the case? Very simple. If these men got married, had a child, got divorced, and remarried the woman. So the daughter is in the world, and they made a kinyan. Also in such a case, the No, they're still 3 years old in this case. Elabita, he says the Gemara, I'll explain to you. Elabita is not bezdin, the pshat is because the daughter, who your own daughter that you mechuyev to support, because bezdin told you to, loy mahani loy kinyan. I looked around, I couldn't really find a decent, like, what's the havamina? That your own daughter should be weaker than a stepdaughter? But maybe I have no idea. Maybe the pshat is that if you come into a very lit room and you turn on a candle, it does nothing. When Bezdin says that you owe your daughter support, you can't make a kinyan on that chiyuv that Bezdin already said. You already mechuyev. I don't know. I have no idea. I looked back and forth. Huh?
Maybe because he could sell her as a shikha.
So why is there no kinyan? The Gemara says no. On your own daughter, there's a tnai Bezdin. You didn't make a kinyan. It doesn't even work, the Gemara says. Who cares if you can sell her? It doesn't work. But a stepdaughter, you're not mechuyev to support, therefore the kinyan to the works. Says the Gemara, makes no sense. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to explain the havamin of the Gemara. The Gemara asked the question, like, what are you talking about? How can your own daughter be worse than a stepdaughter? How can you owe your own daughter less than your stepdaughter? As far as like this, your daughter, you owe her because Bezdin said you owe her. And if you went ahead and you made a kinyan, why are you doing it? You're ready mechuyev v'ayim. Why are you making a kinyan? Because you're really concerned. You really want it to work. So if you really want it to work, we have to be concerned that perhaps you put aside money for her. Yeah, a lot of people put a little trust fund, whatever it is. They're concerned about their children. If so, you can't go after Meshua Abadim. The concern is you love your daughter so much that you put your money aside for her. Then why could you go after Dr. Factor in his field when there's already money set aside for you? You're going after the wrong thing. Go look for a trust fund. Don't look for somebody else's field. But your stepdaughter, there's no trust fund, so don't worry about it. Go after somebody else's field. Tashma, Omer ibn Asin, Mosai. Oh, this Reb Nosson, we're going to have a little bit of a problem later on. We're not going to get into it so much. He doesn't really fit into the rest of the sugya later on. I'm just pointing it out here. Whoever understands. But Reb Nosson says, remember, all the way, let's see if we have the case again. I don't want to waste time here. Let's go through it real quickly. Dr. Ben had a property. The Gazan stole the property from him. And then the Gazan went and sold the stolen property to Yossi Klein, the plumber from Muncie. And Yossi Klein went ahead and improved the property. And then he gets kicked out of his property by Dr. Ben Schwartz from the Five Towns. So Rabbi Yossi goes and he sues Dr. Factor and he gets back 100. Because the improvements of the property cannot get back from Dr. Factor. So, says when does this happen? When Dr. Factor bought the property before Yossi Klein built nursing homes. But if Yossi Klein went and built all these nursing homes, after everything's finished and everything's great, operational, comes Dr. Factor and buys the karka, then he is mechuyev to pay Yossi Klein for the nursing homes. Why? Because he knew about it. So you see over here that the whole point, according to Reb Nosson, is: are you first or not first? Even though it's not written anywhere. So you see that written, and also katzov, by the way, this would be a kasha on both shittas that we learn now. We said the point is, the reason why you can't go after somebody because it's not written. Over here we see a case that you could go after somebody when it's not written. As long as Dr. Factor knew about it, even though it's not written, you go after. You said it's not katzov. Rashi understands that this is not katzov. Even though today it is katzov, a lot of Rishonim say, well, the nursing home is built, so I know exactly how much the nursing home is worth. But at the time it wasn't, whatever, Rashi holds it's not katzov. Says Gemara, Tanoi. The bottom line is, we have a machlokes Tanoim, so any way you grab it, you can't ask any questions because I'm going to hold like this Tana. You can't go after our Mishnah. You can't go after people that bought karkais to pay up child support, to pay up shvach karkais, pay rise, whatever you took off the nursing home. Mipnei tikkun olam lefi she'ein ksuvim. Why? Because nobody's going to purchase a property if you could go after something that's not written. I'm going to buy a property. There's somebody in Yopetsville that bought a property from you, not written. He invested all this money. He's going to come and take it back from me. So the tikkun olam is that it has to be written. Like this, people will buy properties and everything will be good. Rabbi Yosef, and Rabbi Yosef argues, you don't have to come on to this tikkun olam that people are not going to buy properties. I have a much better reason. How could somebody buy a property and be reliable and have, I'm sorry, what's the word? Be meshubad, be obligated is the word I was looking for. Be obligated to somebody else when he has no idea what that somebody else is. What he's going to improve in the property. It could go from $1 of improvement to $100 million of improvement. It depends what he puts up, how many floors of a skyscraper he's going to put up there. So a guy's going to purchase a property in the year 2000, year 2025, he say, hey, over the last 25 years, I improved it to $100 million. Please cough up the property you bought 20 years ago. This guy, it's ein kotzov. How should I be obligated for something that has no end to it? So your reason of people not buying karkais is not enough. You don't even have to come on to it. I have a much better reason. You see the two reasons here. Reason number one, it's not written. Reason number two, it's not kotzov. Those are the two reasons. Pick either one you want. If you go with kotzov, like Reb Chanina, you go with Rabbi Yosef. You go Ula goes with Tanakh here. Fine. Next sugya. Rabbi Yosef can wake up now. It's a new sugya. You hear, Dr. Factor? It's time for a new sugya. I'm looking for that water. You gotta appreciate when you have it. Says the Mishnah, you find an object and you return it, and the guy says you didn't return all of it, you don't have to make a shvua. Or maybe it's you found a guy comes with a pile of money. Here's $10,000 I found. So the guy that lost $10,000 says, wait a minute, there's $20,000. What happened to the second pocket? Says the Gemara, Nishba. You have to make a shvua. Even though it's not so funny, but I managed literally the other day I read this and it fits right into the worst. I have to tell you, it was two Ukrainians, the soldiers, they were on a jeep, and they found 2 unexploded missiles. Each missile could blow up a block. So these shaitan, they take the 2 missiles, throw it in the back of their pickup truck, and they start driving. And in the middle of the way, one guy looks to the driver, he says, what's going to happen if one of them explodes? So the guy goes, oh, don't worry about it. We'll tell the general that we only found 1. And it's mamish, these words, I was like, wow. So, Hashgacha brought this. I only found 1. Okay? Nishba. Shnei shvarim kshurim atzasali. Well, what if it's the same case, but instead of money that can't move around, doesn't have little legs like Yoshi makes, you have 2 shvarim that could run away from each other, they could pull and schlep each other away. There's a big difference. My time shvarim menatchem adadi. Kisin menatchem adadi. His taina is a taina's bari, and that's what we're going to see here. It's a very, very strong taina. I lost 2 pouches full of money. You're returning 1. What are you going to tell me? That they separated from each other? How did they separate from each other? I'm telling you, you found 2. You're a liar. You gave me. But when it comes to 2 oxen, he can't say, "Oh, you're a liar." But maybe they're huge beasts, and they ripped the things off, and you only found 1. I can't say that I know for certain that you found 2. So therefore, there's no shvua. But what's the big question, Rabbi Oziel, that's on everybody's mind? Well, how do we deal with the Mishnah? The Mishnah says anytime you find something, you never have to swear. How come over here we're saying that you have to swear? But in the case where the guy's mother mixes, he says, I found 2, but I already returned 1. In that case, it's mother mitzvah. As the Gemara, what happened to our Mishnah? Says the Gemara, Daf Yomi Amud Beis, and if you think that this sugya is familiar, we had the sugya mamish word for word in Ksubas. That is taka. Gewaldige Masechta. Chaval, all those people that dropped off during Yevamis, they have no idea what they're missing. You just have to hold on a little bit. It's like now, today, a little tough in the beginning, and then it's fly. He's going to hold like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Now, let me just tell you real quickly what the sugya is in 1 second. It goes all the way to the 2 dots. Hold on. Look at Rashi, top Rashi. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. That's the end of the sugya. That if I claim that I know 100% certain that you found more than you're giving me back, then you have to make a shvuah. The Mishnah wasn't talking about that. The Mishnah was saying, guy, listen, I think you might have found more. But if I know, I could have a tainas bari. And what the Gemara is going to do is you see also, the Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov holds this by a yasam. When you have a 10-year-old kid that comes to a loiv and says, you owed my father $100,000, this is a machlaikis. Do we view this katan as a nobody? He's a katan. He's a shaita. He has no das. How could he tell me to make a shvuah? Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says, no. He knows he's coming betainas bari, and when he comes betainas bari, I don't care how old he is, you have to swear to the katan. That's the whole sugya here. Now, because I had nothing else today and it was late, this is Yisoid in Shas, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, Mishnasoi Kav V'Naki. That the halacha is always like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. I'm not sure that the halacha here is like him. We did have places where the halacha was not like him, but in general we have a rule, at least in the Mishnah. The Mishnah holds that the halacha is like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. We might not hold like the Mishnah, we might not pass like the Mishnah, but anyway, fine. Says Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, this is how Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, sometimes a person can make himself swear, make a shvuah. I owed your father 100, but I returned 50. If a guy comes forward to an orphan and says, Yasimul, I borrowed 100 from your father, but don't worry about it, I already given back 50, all I owe you now is 50. Says Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, you have to make a shvuah. The Gemara is going to say it makes no sense. You're returning a loss. The Yosem had no idea that you owed 50 or 10, 0. So anything that you're giving the Yosem is literally giving back a lost object. And a lost object, you shouldn't make a shvuah. Now don't get lost in all this. I told you the end of the sugi, we're going to get there. We're going to understand Pshat all the way at the end. Hopefully we get there. It's only 8 o'clock now. So, what about the fact that he's a Meshav Aveda? So the katan is the one that sued him, but the katan is nothing, says the Gemara. You shouldn't make a shvuah at all. If maybe he's a katan, so we have to be considered to the katan, and we stick up for the katan, so you make a shvuah. But the katan, his tainam is 0. So the Gemara, my katan gadol. What is a katan? Like we said yesterday, an adult. Why is he called a minor? When it comes to his father, he's a katan. Now, I personally, when I was reading this, not everybody in the room, me and Mendy could say this easily, that Legabi, my father, I'm a katan. The guy knows kol terikula, balpeh, he learns all day, this, that, I'm a katan. If you want to say it to your own father, Givali, what? Just a 12-year-old muflik samach lish? No. That's a gadol. Katan. You're right. So I'm also a gadol now. I'm a katan. No. 2 different things. Before we say we're talking about a katan. Now we're saying, what is it? It's not a katan, it's a gadol. The guy is 25 years old. He's 50 years old. He's a 70-year-old that lost his 90-year-old father. But when it comes to his father's inheritance, he doesn't know anything, so he's a baby. So why did the Gemara say that you're making a shvuah on your own account? It's not on your own account, it's on the 70-year-old. The 70-year-old sued you. Says the Gemara, no. It's you're admitting to it. He sued you, you admitted to it. Says the Gemara, anytime you have a moedib mixas in this world, it's because somebody sued you and you admitted to it. So you don't call that on your own account. That's on somebody else's account. Elo b'derabbi kamifli. So the Gemara is going back. No. We're talking about a 10-year-old. We're not talking about a 70-year-old. We're talking about a real katan. But it's a machlokes in Rabbah. Now what? Let me just see here. Oh, here. So Rashi brings this pasuk. Ki yitein ish el reyehu kesef hakelim lishmor v'gunam b'beis ish. It has to be an adult who makes the loan, but it could be a katan that makes the claim. It could be a minor, it could be a 10-year-old who says, my father gave it to you. My father gave you kesef hakelim. Everybody knows this Gemara. This is one of the famous ones from what? Bamitzia. The Torah says that if you admit a partial admission, you have to make a shvuah. Why? Nobody has the audacity to look at your friend's face and lie to him in his face. I saw with my own eyes here in Israel. That's what they do. I don't know if they do it in America. I unfortunately was there in the police station, and I saw they took the two people. There were two people in a major fight. They beat each other up. They put them face to face, and they said, "Okay, say the story. What happened?" And they go, "You punched me." He says, "No, you punched me first." And the cops were just watching to see who's gonna lie. Because you can't lie to the guy and say you kicked me, and then you That's what they do. A person cannot be mechutzef. It's actually a big shaila and a mechutzef. Could you change the halacha? Rabbi Oziel says maybe you could. Okay, but a typical person is not a mechutzef. And at the end of the day, he should have lied about everything. He can't look at a guy in the face and say, "You never loan me money." It's not human nature. But so now Rashi explains. But if he's such a liar and he's going to lie that he only borrowed half, so maybe he's going to be nishbal sheker. I have to be concerned. The guy's going to make it. He's such a liar. He's looking the guy in the face and said, "You only gave me $5,000, not $10,000, but the truth is 10." So maybe he'll make a shua sheker. So on that, the Gemara is by varning. At the end of the day, he should have been a nice guy and admitted everything. So why is he lying a little bit? I unfortunately had the experience many times where people come up with the most ridiculous ideas ever. How come you didn't pay me? Oh, because I'm on the way. I'm doing it right now, but I had to buy a washing machine. Maaser Shaya guy told me, I'm on the way. So I said, okay, I'm waiting. I said, you said you're on the way. Where are you? You're not going to believe it. My washing machine broke. My wife calls me up. So I ran and bought a washing machine. Okay, but that's $1,000, $2,000. What happened to the rest that you told me? Yeah, tomorrow. It's a mishigas that people have when they don't pay, they make up stories. Instead of saying, I'm not paying you, they make up stories. He's trying to buy time. Say this mice a different day. Therefore, he's not such a liar. He's a shtickle liar. He has a little lying problem. Why? Because he's trying to buy time. For that, a shvuah does work. He's not an aggressive liar. Shvuah will work for him. And Mela zok the Gemara like this. It doesn't matter. A person is not going to be a mechutzav to a 10-year-old Yosem that just lost his father that lent you $10,000. I don't know exactly how the psychology works, but that's what he holds. And we go like him usually. Oh. And that's the whole sugya. That according to Rabbi Yosef, when a guy has a tainas bari, when this Yosem 10-year-old says, you owe my father money, pay me. That's already a bari, he's certain. And when a person is certain, you can be mechayev shvu with that certainty. And the same thing in our Mishnah. When I say I lost 2 pouches and you only gave me 1, I am certain it was 2, and there's nothing in my mind that could convince me that somehow it's separated. What? Some guy found 2 pouches, separated one, and he took one and left $10,000 on the floor? Impossible. You found both, and you stole one. I want you to make a shvuah. It's bari, it's certain. You do, according to Rabbi Yosef, you have to make a shvuah, and the other Tana holds, it's not true. You will be mechutz to the son, and he has halacha of just returning an object. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day and a meaningful fast.